Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, very well. Just got off a call with the guys in the inner circle, which was awesome. Loved it.
Yeah, great group of guys.
Yeah, they are. They are, especially off the back. I think on the call, most of them had just attended the Alpha Reset. So there was a distinct difference between the guys on the call that had attended the Alpha Reset and the guys that hadn't. By the end of the call, obviously, because we've got another one coming up, all the guys like, right, I am at the next one. So they left the call already having reached out to Arthur to get confirmed for the next one, which is just awesome.
Yeah, I think the next one's booked out, and we're looking at one, I think in November at this point as well, of adding an additional one come in. The demand is so high. We're also getting a ton of people that say, hey, look, I just want to come to an Alpha Reset. I've heard so much about it. So I thought what we do today, Tim, is actually do a quick recap for the guys listening, both the guys that are in the movement that we call the Powerful Man, but also our regular listeners, just kind of like, what is the Alpha Reset? Why go, and who's it for, and what happened in this Alpha Reset? Now, it's a disclaimer before we continue. Guys, we just don't share what happens at the Alpha Resets in terms of exercises and in terms of what the gentlemen do. However, we'll talk to you about kind of, the before and afters a little bit. And we have some great before and afters, or after, I guess I should say, videos from some of the guys that chose they wanted to share.
Yeah. If you can see me on the video, you'll know that I look a bit distressed. And obviously, the guys that can't see the video, I'm distressed. And the reason for that is I don't know how to put it into words, like literally.
No.
The start of this, the inner circle call, it's just been how the guys that had just been to the Alpha Reset share a quick sentence of what it was like and why anybody else should go. And all of them said the same. Look, I can't put it into words. Just go. Just go. And one of the guys, Jared, who listens to the podcast, amazing man, who showed up big time at the Alpha Reset.
Yeah, he did.
He just repeated himself about 6 times. Just go. Every time he said it, he got more animated and introduced a few F-bombs. Just go.
I was going to say,
go. And then, Tony said the same thing. So did Jay. The guys just kept echoing because, it's so difficult to put into words. I said to them, as you know, how the accountability call goes for the inner circle, one of the questions is what didn't go well this past week. Every guy that had been to the Alpha Reset said, look, there isn't anything that hasn't gone well. One of the questions is, what are you going to be doing differently next week? All the guys that were at the Alpha Reset said nothing. I'm going to do exactly what I've been doing this week.
Yep.
I've gone home. The relationship with the kids is just off the charts. The relationship with the wife is at another level. Because prior to that, they're doing all the right things. And there's sometimes still a little bit of a disconnect between them and the wife. And it's an emotional and energetic disconnect, right?
Yep.
Like one of the guys crushing it, doing really well in every area, quite honestly. And he's always just a little bit serious. And he's been trying to empathize and validate and connect with his wife. And it's coming across as inauthentic, right? Because the energy is mismatched what he's saying. And he's been genuine with it. He's wanting to understand her. He's wanting to connect her. But she feels the disconnect between what he's saying and what the meaning of it is. Whereas now, walks in through the door, barely even says anything, and she's all over him. Because she feels his energy. She feels his playfulness. She feels his lightheartedness. One of the guys went for dinner with another couple, and he got a random text message from the husband 3 days later, and he didn't know where this guy had been because he didn't talk about it. And he said, God, you just felt so light. It was great to see you. It was great to be around you. You were so much fun. And could go on and on and on. And that's the real shift, right? The difference that these guys come back with.
Yeah, and the key for those guys listening here is we all want that. And what the alpha reset provides, man, is the ability to access that at any time within them, anytime, any place. And it's almost like I would describe the alpha reset. If I were to describe it, it's the alpha reset itself is a key, and it unlocks the door to the man that you are inside, the guy you are inside. That's why it's called a reset, right? It's the alpha reset, the alpha within inside of you. And the exercises are specifically designed and tailored to each group. So they always change a little bit, although there are some fundamentals that go along. There's a formula. We've been doing this for years, but it allows the men the access and the instantaneous access. And one thing, Tim, which is, the first gentleman you mentioned, right? Who, allowing more playfulness, lightheartedness, love, and his wife now feels him. I mean, she wrote him a letter essentially that said, hey, this isn't working, right? And I'm out if this doesn't change. And he was able to be in a space where that didn't bother him. And because he just came authentically, as you said. And the key here is that access to that man that was always within inside him, that us as coaches, we could always see, and giving him the key. Now he owns the key and he can unlock that door and keep it open or close it if he wants to, but he always has the key to do so. And that's what makes it so powerful for these guys. And that's why, we have a waiting list for the alpha resets, and we're adding more now that the pandemic is, I'll say, slowing down, so to speak, although we experienced a lot of governmental regulations, I'll say that, at this alpha reset. But the guys just stepped to the line time and time again. And I know we'll talk about some more of these transformations in the experience as we go through this. But let's take a moment and start at the beginning, right? So this alpha reset was in Wales, right? In the United Kingdom. So it was in Wales, and the guys all showed up for what we call day zero, basically, right? It's kind of the meet and greet, show up. And this one was interesting because a lot of the guys have known each other via Zoom and video, et cetera, before. So they've known each other and got to know each other through the time. They've all been through the activation method. So there's a certain level of playing field that all the guys are on.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know if you were going to jump in. You had so when you look at this, the guys showed up, but the level of nervousness was also there. So there's a familiarity. The common joke is all the guys go, wow, you're real, right? Because they haven't met each other in person. And as you can imagine, the bond that's formed going through the activation method, and then these guys have all gone into the brotherhood. Some guys have gone into the inner circle, which is our higher level mastermind program, but they all know each other, right? Those groups intermix. It's an amazing network of business professionals from all over the world, all walks of life. The commonality here is you have amazing men, right? Most all have kids who are there to better themselves, not only for their families, but also for themselves, and are looking to unlock the key. And they have no idea, guys, listening to this, they have no idea what's going to happen. And that's the beautiful thing, is they put their full trust into us as coaches. And we don't tell them anything other than at night, we say, guys, get some sleep. Tomorrow we're starting at X time. Here's your expectations. Here's what we want you to show up with, right? So, and we may want you to do X, Y, and Z before the coaches arrive, because we as coaches stayed off-site at this particular venue. It changes depending on the venue. So it's a beautiful location, in this stately manner overlooking the ocean in Wales. So the location's 5 stars, right? Great. The people are 5 stars. At the beginning, you have guys very nervous. Some guys asking themselves, why the hell am I here? And other guys just nervous and excited.
A common joke is I've flown halfway across the world to meet up with some people that I've never met before, that I've only spoken to on the internet, that I met on the internet, and I don't know what I'm going to be doing or where I'm going to be staying. Well, they know where they're going to be staying, but they don't know anything about it. And it's often a common joke on that first evening, right, when the guys are having a beer or two, and it's like, I can't believe I flew across the world to just meet with a bunch of guys that I met online, and I don't know why I'm here. My wife's asking me, well, what are you going to do? And he's like, I don't know. Well, what's everyone else going to? I don't know. And then it dawns on them. Interesting. But it's great. It's a great exercise of letting go of control and realizing what you're really capable of.
Surrender. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolute surrender.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, day one, we were great. We had a guy that was there, offered to share some of his passion with wine, which was great. Brought some amazing bottles of wine to share with the guys that chose to drink. Some of the guys don't drink, and there's still that camaraderie regardless. Some guys brought some of the guys from the UK brought beer to share, and it's just guys sharing themselves, and there's that sense of nerves, right? Because they haven't unlocked the key yet for themselves. So there's a little bit of trepidation and nervousness. You could feel it in the air. So guys just getting to know each other. And we do some icebreakers as coaches periodically. We didn't have to do it in this case, but there are some conversations and seeds planted that first night. Then the guys go to bed relatively early, and they get ready for day one. So day one of the experience, the energy is continuing, right? Guys are getting some rest. Again, we're not going to go into what happens at the event, but you're starting to see transformations beginning, right? And most of the guys don't see it in themselves as much as they see it in the other men around them. And they're starting to see, it's almost like putting a WD-40 or oil into a squeaky door. You're starting to see that door moving, which is, again, the leverage to get inside and activate yourself, right? As a powerful man. And you start to see that within the guys. And there's a fire burning. It's getting stoked. And you're starting to see, kind of, I'll use another analogy, the butterfly coming out of that cocoon going through there.
Yeah, I think it's good to mention that the theme of day one is truth. And there's a series of different things we'll take the guys through, but that gives you a little bit of an understanding as to really where we go. We dive deep into certain areas. And like you said, a door that was previously shut starts to open. And it was great to see the guys opening up in ways that they have never opened up to anyone in their lives before, and realize things about themselves. And just, anyway, I don't want to, it's hard for me not to give too much away.
No more themes either. I know it's hard. Man. I'm struggling over here too. But it's so transformative, right? You want to share this and scream it from the mountaintops.
Yeah, it's tough.
And it's key, guys. Although guys are opening up, this is not friggin' therapy at all. No. Nothing even remotely close to therapy. It's not that kind of opening up. Imagine having a pint or beer with your closest friends, your childhood friends, right? That you've known forever. And you're just kind of chatting away. Just that would be the closest descriptor I could give to the experience. I know it's not close, but it's the closest I can give. If you got a better one, I'm open to it. But again, this also gives us as coaches a chance to really read the room. And as coaches, we're constantly maneuvering, moving around, redoing the agenda based on everybody. So although there were 10 men at this particular alpha reset, sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less, depending on what we want to do, everybody is having an individual experience. It's collective, but also individual. So it's, you can't tell as a participant right away until day 3, but it's tailored for each person to get what we want them to get out of it. And fast forwarding to day 2, we'll just skip day 2. How's that?
Well, think of this. A week ago today was day 2.
I know.
20 past 4, I think would have been through the second process. There's 6 processes. I think we can say that. 6. No? You don't want me to say anything, do you?
I don't want you to say anything because I think part of the experience is not knowing, is surrendering. And us as, I'll speak for myself, as business leaders, we're in control all the time, right? We are in control of everything. And so there's a certain what's the word I'm looking for? There's a certain aspect of surrendering that adds to the experience. So the not knowing part. Guys in the brotherhood pieced a few things together, right? We joke about what's going to happen a lot, and we're still guys, right? So we're still, giving each other a hard time and joking, and we play some tricks here and there. We're having fun most of the time, but it's also a very serious experience. But even serious experiences and transformational ones can be fun if you allow them to be. And so that's really what we foster. But day 2 is is a monster, so to speak. A good monster, but a monster of a day. So roll into day 3, going there. Day 3, Tim, it was so beautiful, right? Day 3 is where these men have had access, because they get access to the key on day 2, so to speak, that I think we can say. And now they are practicing opening and shutting the door if they want to, but most of those guys have friggin' taken the hinges off the door, right? Let alone use the key to unlock it. And these men, one guy said, basically, well, I'm trying to think of what I can say that not giving things away. One of the guys said, I've never been this happy in my life. For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm me. And that's something we hear often. Not always the first time in life I'm this happy, but we always hear, at least from some people, if not most, this is the first time as a man I feel truly me, who I am as a man. And it's really an emotional experience, right? To see these guys just foster into the powerful men that we as coaches have always seen, and who their wives have always seen, and people around them that can see them and love them. They see that man that's inside, and they're just screaming for them to get out. But the guys, again, it's a locked door for them. They don't have access.
They've built armor, haven't they, over the years or decades that they've persevered and tolerated pain in business and other areas of life, and put themselves last and not made time for themselves. And it's become a habit, and it's become a way of thinking. And it's like they've stacked armor, right? I don't know if you in the US, you have those, there's these like dolls that you can get in the UK. I think they're from Europe. And when you lift the lid off one of the dolls, there's a smaller doll inside.
They're from Russia.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that. The woman still sees the real version, the small doll still sees the real guy who she married. But the guy has just stacked on these layers and layers and layers around him. And that's what she's craving. She's craving the man that she married. And it's a feeling. She feels his presence in a different way than she does when he's got these 5 layers of armor, right? She struggles to feel him. And it's so frustrating for her because she sees and feels glimpses of it. So I think that's a great way to describe where they are on day 3. Not only do they have the key and they've busted the door, and at the same time, they're just free. They've taken off the armor, and they can really, they know who they are, like viscerally. They know who they are. They know what they want. And like they said, I see it so clearly now. And it's like a light bulb. It's bigger than a light bulb. I don't even know what it's like. It's incredible. And then they take
like a lighthouse.
And they take that home with them. 2 of the guys on the taxi ride home, example, 2 quick stories here. They got in a taxi cab, and the driver was overhearing what they were talking about. And he says, where have you guys been? What have you been doing? Because clearly he's hearing and hearing what they're saying and feeling the lightness that they have. And so they told him. And there was a long pause, silence. And it turns out that day, he shouldn't have been driving that taxi cab. He was the owner of the company, and he was covering for one of the guys that was sick. And the way that the space that they created for that guy, he then went on to share the fact that he's always struggled in marriage and business because he was abused as a child. And he carries the guilt and the shame with him ever since he was 5 years old, and he's not told anyone about it. So when the taxi ride had finished, one of the guys got out, gave him a hug and took his number, and he just said he felt this lightness drop off him. And that same guy, when he got home a few days later, went to see his best friend. They went for lunch, and his best friend was saying, "You've changed. What are you doing? This is different. This isn't who you've been over the past few years. You're different. You've changed."
To be clear, we're
And
not
then
talking about the taxi driver anymore.
no.
Yeah.
And he's seen him change over the past year, and this was almost like the icing on the cake. And anyway, when they went to leave, they went to do the usual hug that guys do, right, and give each other a pat. But instead of doing that, his friend gave him a pat, but the guy who'd just been to the Alpha Reset, he held on, and his friend just started crying, and he just said, "Listen, I'm here for you." And just these men, because they're able to see themselves and see who they really are and be in tune with that and what they want, they begin to lead themselves in their lives in ways that transcend traditional forms of leadership. And it's that energy. We've all met those kind of people, right? When they walk into a room, they just lift the room, right? And that's what these guys are doing effortlessly. They're not trying. That's what their wives are feeling. That's what the kids are feeling. They're feeling that the playful father is back. One guy's gone taking his kid out running and taking his kid to go do just things that he wasn't realizing his son wanted to do because he was missing the mark. Whereas the transformation in his household with his kids the past week, from him being present and being available, has just shifted the entire environment and also shifted the relationship with his wife as well, because she's seeing this, right? She's seeing the father that he's being. It's incredible. There's tons of stories like this, tons.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking about that. I mean, you think about what we as men want. Well, first and foremost, if you're in the shit right now, right? All you want to do is get out. Like, seeing beyond that is impossible. And, what is possible is not only getting out, but like you said, this guy you're talking about right now, who happens to be in the inner circle, this applies to all the guys. They become beacons of hope for the men around them. And it does transcend any leadership book or anything. It's just natural, authentic leadership from a place of purity. And that gets recognized. This same guy left us a message saying that he walked into a business meeting and just took it over. And in his words, he owned it like a boss and just dominated the business meeting for the first time that he can recall. And not from a place of like
ego.
Yeah, from a place of ego or dictatorial, being a dictator, but from a place of just pure natural power. And people follow that. I mean, they just gravitate towards that naturally. So it's been great to see. And you can tell stories about almost all of these guys. One thing I want to bring up is a story that I think is important coming out of the Alpha Reset, especially for the men that listen. The common thing that we hear is, my marriage is too far gone. Now, it may be, right? Or, man, the wives are like, yeah, you're doing something new. Why is this any different? You tell me you're going to change. Why is it different? And the moment these guys step into their home, their whole family can tell this has been a change that will last, and it is different. And the reason being is they can feel the energy before these men walk in the room. Before these guys actually open the door, the household is filled with that energy. I remember, Tim, my wife telling me that I was running multiple companies and I had all these things going on there. I was stressed, but anxiety was an issue. That when I would come into the room after work, the whole house become anxious. The room would fill with anxiety. And it used to piss me off, to be honest. One is, I didn't want it to be true. Two is I didn't know how to get rid of it, right? I just didn't know. I'm a businessman. I'm always on the go. But the same thing happens when you walk in with pure love, power, and the essence of who you are as a man, as an alpha man. That's what we call a powerful man. Now, when these guys walk in their home, their wife's like, things are going to be different, right? The kids are like, things are going to be different. My father is here. My man is here. And it doesn't take any work from these guys. In fact, it's easier. And that's always a joke on day 3. Like, what the hell? This is even easier than doing all the other things I've been trying to do, all the stress, all the anxiety. This is actually the easiest thing for me to do going through there. So that's always been an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So
And
going through there.
just something I want to just point out. Um, it's almost counterintuitive, right? You know, these guys on the other side of this, it's true power that they learn to harness. And when the people around them feel that true power, they feel safe. And why the reason why I say it's counterintuitive is because how we are taught to believe what power looks like, right? Muscles and beating chest and loud and whatever it is, you come to realize that true power has nothing to do with that. True power is about harnessing a power that's laying dormant inside of you, a power that's there for all of us. Everyone's got it. These guys at the Alpha Reset aren't special. They've chosen to do the work. And the good news is, it's inside of all of us.
Yes.
And when we choose to harness it, it creates an energy, a presence, like you said, arrives in a room before we do.
Mm-hmm.
And that allows other people to breathe a sigh of relief because they feel your certainty. They feel your lightness. They feel your decisiveness and direction without anything to prove, without anything to hide. It comes from a real sense of groundedness. And in that place, you're calm. You're able to make calculated decisions. You're precise. And you're also loving. It's a nice balance of fairness and love. And again, it helps the people around you to relax because they know that you've got this.
Yeah, it's amazing. We something that happens at these alpha resets is the guys feel like somebody's taken the emergency brakes off. Right? They're not spinning the wheels trying to figure this out. And a lot of guys are like, screw it. I'm good at business. I'll just focus there. Hopefully this marriage thing and everything else goes away. It doesn't work that way. One guy was talking about releasing the brakes and how it felt like the brakes were released. And this gentleman we talked about earlier, his analogy was really great. It's almost like someone just walked around and cut off all the sandbags on the hot air balloon, right? It's a hot air balloon trying to get in the air, but it's tethered down to the ground. Plus there's all these weighted sandbags. So maybe someone's cut one off in a year or something. But the alpha reset was like someone went around and just took a machete and just cut off all the tethers, all the sandbags in one foul swoop, and that balloon just floated away. We could talk about this forever because obviously we were there and we're very passionate about it. It's just so amazing. Every one of these guys stepped to the line. And what we mean by stepping to the line, that means one is you got to choose to do the work. Two is you got to show up, not physically show up, but show up ready to do the work, ready to do stuff that you've never done before. Right. Growth happens outside your comfort zone. So for a lot of people, just even not knowing what they're going to do is too uncomfortable. Do it anyway, right? What you're doing is not working, right? Maybe it is for you. Maybe there's a couple of you guys listening here, but for most of us as men, right? I've been there, guys. It's just not working. It's not working. You're taking hopium, hoping things will change with time, hoping things will change tomorrow, someday. But you've said that for years and it hasn't changed. Right? Go look in your wife's eyes, your kid's eyes. Go look in the mirror right now and see how things are. And I'm only sharing this with you guys because I want this for you. It might not be the alpha reset, but this level of transcendence, really, and power within yourself is there and accessible to you right now. And for some of us, myself included, we needed a key, right? Someone to hand us the key to the door to unlock. And when we get that key, it is sweet. It is oh so sweet. And it is absolutely amazing. So Tim, any parting words you want to do to wrap up the Alpha Reset?
There's a saying for the people that go through it. You can never unsee what you've seen.
No.
Because you're going to see a side of yourself that you always knew was there, but you just didn't know how to access. You access it at the Alpha Reset. And not only that, you access it in a deeper, more meaningful way than you ever realized was possible. And there's no turning back. There just isn't. So if you're not ready for that level of transformation, it's just maybe not your time. But if you are ready for that level of transformation, then I invite you. Are you going to accept the challenge and make your way to an alpha reset? There's many men that have walked the path and gone before you, but it's up to you whether or not you can handle it.
Yeah, very, very, very true. And guys, we'll release a couple of the videos, because what happens all the time when we're at these things is guys want to get in front of camera and just share it, right? Like, kind of where we say, hey, look, what would your previous you want to know about this experience? And as one of the guys said, get your ass to an alpha reset as soon as possible. So awesome, Tim. What an amazing experience. Shout out to Lee and Arthur, who were also there, co-coaching with us and making sure this was possible, as well as all the support staff that make this happen. It's a huge undertaking, guys, as you may understand. But just, man, I'm just so proud of these men that step to the line for themselves and their families. And you guys listening to this now, if that's something you choose to do in your life, then I applaud you for that as well. Gentlemen, that's a wrap for us here at the Powerful Man Show. If you haven't already, it would mean a lot to Tim and I if you just leave a review, just an authentic, honest review on wherever you get this, whether it be YouTube, through iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you find this show. That helps other men like you find it as well, guys that are searching like you. And we want to open this up. This is a movement of men, truly a movement, and we're doing something special here. And we want you guys to be included. So, gentlemen, as always, take some action. We'll see you next time on the Powerful Man Show.